Yellow! Hola! Welcome to my top 10 reads of 2025. I read quite a few books last year, not to brag or anything, but I did meet my Goodreads goal, which was greater than 150 books. Truthfully, it's a little bit upsetting that nowadays we don't do the Pizza Hut, like pizza read things. However, I'm an adult, so I mean, technically, I can just buy pizza whenever I want and just eat it, but it just doesn't seem as special, right? But, that's neither here nor there. Let's dive into my top 10 books, huh? So these are in no particular order, but let's kick it off. So, number one is The Autumn Springs Retirement Home Massacre by Philip Fracassi. You know what the horror genre really needed? We needed a slasher Golden Girls. That's what we needed. We needed Rose, who's a final girl in her late 70s, who lives in a retirement home. As an offside, the retirement home with all its amenities and whatnot seems freaking awesome, other than, all the murder. When one of her friends dies, it's written off as a tragic accident. Somebody else dies. Well, I mean, how suspicious is that? It's an old folks' home. Like, people are dying all the time. But when more people start kicking the bucket, Rose realizes nothing about the deaths are natural and investigates the mass killer of the Autumn Springs retirement home. She's just awesome. I have to just say, Rose is probably one of my favorite final girls now, other than Ripley, obviously. The cast of characters was bomb. Special shout out to the Baxter sisters, who are three sisters who like to dabble with the occult as you do. And the final showdown made me cackle a few times. This was my first Fracassi read, but it will not be my last, I will tell you that. Number two is Something's Wrong with Maddie by Taylor Z. Adams. I got this as an ARC copy. Truthfully, the cover kind of drew me in. It's pink. It has a lady with some pretty nice legs with a sheet over her head. This book kind of asks the question, how far would you go for love? Would you use blood magic to resurrect your dead girlfriend? Piper sure would. Honestly, I probably would too. Adams struck the perfect balance of gut-busting laughter and crying my eyes out in utter sorrow. Like, I literally cried. And, as somebody who prides themselves on having a black heart, Taylor Z. Adams burst through that. So nicely done. So this is pretty much a tragic lesbian love story where the reanimated Maddie is an adorable zombie who craves flesh. That normal thing. Sign me up. Lesbians, zombies, blood magic, hilarity. It's my jam. Number three, The Rotting Room by Viggy Parr Hampton. Viggy's quickly become one of my favorite authors. She pulled me in with Much Too Vulgar, which is kind of a character study on how far an unhinged pre-med student would go to land a coveted lab spot. The Rotting Room is a psychological religious horror that takes place at a convent where the nuns sell divine essence, which is a tonic purported to absolve the drinker of all their sins. What's divine essence, you may ask? Oh, it's just the, decomposition juice of all of the passed away nuns, just normal stuff. So Sister Rafaela is relocated to this convent after a bit of a scandal with her last, and she discovers the horrible truth when she joins the Sisters of Divine Innocence. This one, definitely not to miss. Nuns, me with my Catholic upbringing, always terrify the shit out of me, so this one, top notch. Number four is Fiend by Alma Katsu. Alma is just awesome at baseline. Her book, The Hunger, is probably one of my favorite horror novels of all time. For those that are not in the know, this is about the Donner Party as seen through a supernatural retelling. Cannibalism, that's kind of my thing. I love it. Now, Fiend, if you like The Fall of the House of Usher, Succession, this will be your jam. It's about dysfunctional, powerful families and their demons. Even more so, I had a blast chatting with Almakatsu about Mike Flanagan's series on our Scream Kings episode, episode 131, for those that would like to go back and listen to that. Definitely check that one out after you inhale this novel in one sitting. You will thank me later. Number 5 is American Rapture by C.J. Lead. So CJ's Mayfly would probably be on my top 15 2025 book list. Mayfly is about a lady sociopath similar to Patrick Bateman who works as a Disney princess during the day, leaving her nights for her other proclivities. Proclivities, that's it. I read both of her books back to back, and I wanted more. Thankfully, she has one coming out, I believe, this summer called Headlights. So American Rapture is everything that tickles my horror fancy. Religious trauma and conditioning that comes along with that, a deadly disease leading to a zombie-like rage, and a dystopian Midwestern landscape. I also caught CJ Lead's panels at StokerCon, and like her vibe and like insight on the horror genre is awesome. Like, I wish we could be best friends. If you want to be, let me know, CJ. I'm down. We can make friendship bracelets. Number 6 is Intercepts by TJ Payne. This book came recommended to me by an ER nurse pal whose horror recs are on point. Like, I trust her recs over anyone else's. She told me to read this, and let me tell you, I'm very happy I listened to her. This novel is about a clandestine government project who is experimenting on human subjects who act as intercepts. So they're kind of able to like spy on people, half a world away, whatever. Obviously, the government is using this to spy on terrorists and what have you. So a father who is in charge of the project grapples with his disturbing work, which follows him home, intruding on his daughter's sanity. The prose is beautiful, brutal, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat. Number 7 is Welcome to Your Body, Lessons in Evisceration, edited by Ryan Marie Ketterer. So you all know I am a big fan of body horror, and this is an anthology that is dedicated solely to body horror. Each story is horrifying in their own way, but several of them live rent-free in my brain. The one that I think about probably once a day because it was literally the worst is the do-it-yourself sinus surgery. I don't want to spoil that, but, just normal household tools and you can fix your sinuses. Is it hygienic? No. Will it work? Probably not, but you can do it. You can do whatever you want. It's a free country. There's also stories with invasive parasites, health maladies you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy, and even better, each story comes with its own illustration, which is a work of art in itself. Pick it up. I loved it. Number 8 is The Color of Blood by Mona Cabini. So this story follows Void, who is an artist unlike any other. He's able to see the color of a person's aura and forcibly harvests these unique hues for his disturbing works of art. This is psychological extreme horror written lyrically with compelling characters that are both sinister and oddly sympathetic. Void is, very measured in control, but when he comes across the most beautiful color he's ever seen and falls in love with its possessor, his, carefully crafted persona starts to fall apart. Number 9 is The Z Word by Lindsay King Miller. It's Pride Month, and the queer community of San Lazaro are kicking it off thanks to a new seltzer sponsor. Except folks aren't really acting right. They're becoming downright bloodthirsty and murderous zombie-like monsters. This book focuses on corporate greed, found family, and lots of headshots for the win. King Miller crafts characters I want to get a craft brew with. Maybe at the next Pride when they figure out this whole seltzer situation. If you needed another excuse not to drink seltzer, this is one. An IPA never does this stuff, people. And then number 10 is Dread Mondays, a Whisper House Press horror anthology edited by Steve Capone Jr. I gotta say it, full disclosure, my boy Nathaniel and I co-authored Cutting Room, which was featured in this workplace horror collection. Not to brag or anything, but we got nominated for a pushcart prize. That one. So this anthology delves into people punching the clock at evil organizations with killer 401ks, leaving leftovers in the communal fridge until they mutate, or, staffing a bookstore during the apocalypse. Whatever it all means, it all boils down to what Blink-182 said: work sucks. I know. So those are my top 10. Again, these are not all books that were released in 2025. They were books that I read in 2025. I highly recommend that you check them all out. And don't you worry, I am curating a list right now for 2026 as we speak. Stay spooky, folks.